Patrick Degrees. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing another large watercolour. It's a full imperial sheet, 30 by 22 I think the exact dimensions. It's painted on Jackson's Eco watercolour paper, so that's a reasonable quality paper, but it's a cheap paper as well. I think it's Indian from origin, I'm not sure, but I think they get it from India. Anyway, it's a bit challenging, the paper, in some senses. If you try and erase it with an eraser, the pencil, it will lift the surface very quickly, and if you try and scrubbing away with a brush too much, it'll also lift the surface. So there is a technique to painting on it that you'll have to learn, but it's proved to be quite good. You know, this painting's 30 by 22. And the Windsor&Newton Student Quality Artist paints covered it very well. Really impressed. Nice strong pigments. Couldn't tell a lot of difference between that and artist. Maybe it's just me that can't tell the difference, but I couldn't tell an awful lot of difference, to be honest. And I feel like I'm saving a lot of money in the process. So yeah, there's a couple of things to say about the video. I appreciate my arms in the way. This is a new setup for me. To shoot large, I've got to have my camera on a tripod, not overhead, because I can't get all the picture in. So unfortunately, the camera's on my right hand side and I'm obscuring it slightly. This only lasts for a little while. You will see more of the painting process more clearly later. I've sped the drawing process up and most of the painting process, but at the end you can see me paint the final part of the painting and narrate what I'm doing at the same time at the end of the video. So that's worth a watch, really, because I talk a lot about what I've painted. Now, I'm not going for an exact representation of the photograph. I'm not slavishly following the colours necessarily. I'm just looking for an overall feel to the scene. It's certainly not a masterpiece, but it turned out okay considering. Yeah, it's worth a watch, I think, really. It's just a very loose approach to a photograph, which you can see and set into the video. But again, like I say, it's not an exact copy. It's just, I don't want to keep referring to the photograph. I just want to paint spontaneously and not actually feel like I'm completely, you know, watching the photograph all the time to capture exactly what the photograph's telling me. So I get my impression and then I paint it, essentially. That's the way I like to work, anyway. So sit back, enjoy it, watch it. I do apologise about the obscuring the camera, and there's a slight blurred bit in the middle where the camera decides to focus on my arm when I set up the autofocus. I'm still getting used to this setup, so I do apologise about that, but I hope you enjoy it and I hope you find it useful. Don't forget to visit my watercolour website, Pure Watercolour, where we have lots of great challenges set up by Martin. A great forum and chat room where you can chat, and there's a place there you can upload your work for critiquing by other artists and stuff like that. And don't forget to check out all the links under the video. There'll be a link to the Jackson's watercolour paper and Cotman paint should you be interested. So thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the end for the last bit of the video where you can see me painting and talking at the same time, if that's what you want. Okay, so thanks very much and bye for now.
Okay then, so now I'm just dropping in this shadow. I really apologise for some of the footage being blurred. I'm just not used to this camera angle. The autofocus focused on my arm when I set it up instead of the painting. It's my own fault. It's my fault completely, but I hope you managed to see something. And what the demonstration is all about really is how good this the eco paper is really good. I'm really impressed with it. I'll be certainly getting some more of it. It just takes a little bit of getting used to paint with. I'll be interested to know what other people think about the eco paper. It's been really good. Let's see if I get some splatter going on there, just to make it look a bit. So I'm going to try and pull some bit more shadow down here, and I'm going to take the same shadow right the way down to where this wall is, with these browns. I don't know. I'm just mixing some not mixing anything fancy. I'm just mixing some kind of neutrally grey greens and browns just for the shadows. That's the way I do it. It's not the way everybody would do it, obviously, but I'm just trying to create a feel. I'm not trying to get an 100% representation of the scene, if you like. Well, I am of the scene. I am, but not this actual photograph. You know, it constantly changes. The plants change. Everything changes. So I didn't like that brown shrubby thing there. So we'll just try and lose some of this. But we still want to show that it's all vegetation, and then we want to kind of come back in here. Toby's come to say hello. I can't show you Toby. It's my dog, my border terrier. Well, mine and the family's, obviously. It's down by my feet now, so you probably get splattered with paint in a minute. So I'm just trying to make this into a more shadowed area here, just to take away a little bit of the busyness. It was just looking too busy for me. It's often difficult. You can't really assess a painting until the paint's dry, and I would definitely say that on this eco paper. It doesn't. the paint does tend to soak into the paper a little bit more, so you've got to mix slightly darker colour because it becomes lighter. I've noticed it just breaks through there a little bit. So I'm just using Prussian blue. I've got some indigos going on the back there. That's better. I'm preferring that. Now I prefer that dark. It sort of ties in with this shadow down here. And we want to take the shadow all the way down here. See, if I was to try and paint every little bit of detail that I can see in the picture here, it would be totally pointless. It would be, I'd hate the process myself of having to keep looking and referring and trying to. All I'm trying to do is, when I look at the picture, is get an overall feel of it. Really, I don't want to slavishly follow it, because then to me the painting process will become a chore. You know, you have to sort of be more accurate when obviously when you're doing things like portraits, because people want to look as they do, you know. But you can get away with all sorts of things here. That's the beauty of painting, you know. It's not like there's a nice deep just shadow in there where it cuts under the bank. Some more here. I'm running out of lemon yellow. And I'm just using this Isobay brush. It's quite a big brush, but I'm just using the tip of it, and it's just really good for describing. Just splodging on paint, really. Be really impressionistic and loose, and let the paint flow around. It's just such a fun way to paint. I'm not having to sit there going da 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 da. I can just literally, you know. It's just a fun process, and if I get some, I'm just trying to create something of the feel of the place. You know, I'm not saying the colours are accurate and all that sort of stuff. I'm not trying to portray that. I'm just trying to have a good time, because that's what for most of us, unless those that obviously are doing it for a living, hopefully then it's still a good time. But we're just trying to sort of, you know, experiment and play around and enjoy the process. Oh, it's a bit darker in here. Let's move to a smaller brush now. Soften those edges a bit. Might go into there with a rigger brush in a minute just to draw out some details, but I might not. Yes, so watercolour painting. So all I said again, this is with the, because some people jump into the video at different times and miss out bits obviously. This is the Windsor&Newton Cotman artist quality paints, painted on the Eco paper, Jackson's Eco. It's like a smooth surface. They do a rough paper, which I find very hard to paint on. I've got a load of it upstairs which I haven't really used. Probably find a use for it one day, not today, and it's very hard to paint on. I find it very hard to paint on. I don't recommend that one, but this Eco, it's very good. and I will put a link to it under the video, and also a set of the Cotman paints if anybody's interested. You can buy a set of the paints. They're fantastic. I was at the car boot sale at the weekend, and I managed to find a Cotman field set. Didn't have any paints inside. The box was empty, hadn't been used. It was brand new, had everything with it. But yeah, I found this field set. It's fantastic. I'm just waiting for some paints to come now to fill it. And then when the pans have dried out or been used up, I will, not dried up, I shouldn't let them dry up, I will then just squeeze tubes into them. That's the plan. But yeah, I don't know, I've lost my way a bit here with the painting. Let's try and get some darks. So I'm just using a cobalt blue and permanent magenta here, just to create some little shadows, what I can see. I'm just using this little Chinese brush. It hasn't got a size on it, or it might have, but it's in Chinese, so I can't read it. But little Chinese brush, and it's just great. It's called it's a goat hair brush, and it's so hard wearing. I really want to find some more. I love this brush. I absolutely love it. Such a good brush. So that's what is going on. Just trying to get a real nice impressionistic feel to it. Create the feeling of warmth. I'll get up here now. Put some. When you've got to remember when you're painting, I always say this: the darks make the lights. So it's always a good opportunity to get some darks in. So this painting here is about 30 inches by 20 something, I think 20. But yeah, it's a full imperial sheet of watercolour paper. I just wanted to try the Cotman colours out on. I just wanted to try them out on yeah, I just want to try. Right, there we go. I'm not going to do much more to that at the moment. Until that's dried, I'm quite happy. I might plunge a couple more darks just in there, but I don't think I will. I might not. I don't know. Now this I don't want to cut the painting off here. Okay, I want to try and put this wall in. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it doesn't work really for me in this picture. But so I'm just going to mix a grey up and try and get some texture. I'll make it more of it so it doesn't look so sort of like out of place than maybe it is in the photograph. Bit grey, so I'm just making a nice blue grey, bit more red to it. It's nice and close to us, so pick up some of the warmer going slightly darker with it then. Than it is in the paint, the picture. So then I'm going to put my darks in this side where the wall comes over. I hope I get this perspective on that right, because I don't want it looking as if it's leaning up or down. So again, it's just some cobalt blue, a bit of red, and a bit of yellow. A bit more red because it's gone too green, and a bit more blue, and it takes it to a nice grey colour. Just add some. Try and get a bit of texture in there, maybe. It's quite good, this paper, for dry brush, better than I kind of thought it would be. Went on the green, that wasn't very clever. And it goes off at another angle down there. Then I'm just going to mix some darker shadow colour for this side, because we'll have it in shadow. We'll mix some warm in there as well. Make it, because there's all lots of red stone. This is just mixing up a dark now with the just to where we had that. It's a bit too green, but I don't think anybody's really going to worry about that. And then this, just put a bit while it's still wet into it. Okay, let's get back to this. So this is the shadow side of it now, of that wall. And it's a mixture, I'm just mixing the colours up as I go, really, for that. And what I'm trying to do is give the impression that you're coming up to it and you can look over the wall. I don't know if it works or not, but if the worst came to the worst, I'll just cut the painting off here at some point. But I don't really want to do that, because then you lose that piece. So let's just run the blue over this side. That's something I could work on in my pictures, and that's composition. Is spending a little bit of time thinking about the composition before I actually start painting. I have a real urgency to get stuck in, and then halfway through the drawing I think to myself, oh God, you know, I should have thought about that a bit more. And then, because you're so advanced into the drawing, you're reluctant to change anything. I'm sure a lot of you can identify with that. But that's an ongoing struggle I have. It's remembering to do that. So a bit of shadow there, just on that side. Just there. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry a minute, and then we'll come back and do a little bit more detail to it there. Right, so I'm just going to put the last bit of just detail on the wall here. Just going to mix a little bit more shadow colour, so just a little bit of blue, green, red. Just get a neutrally nice dark, a bit more Prussian blue, I think. Make it on the dark side. Now we're just gonna. So it looks like it's got a little lip on there, essentially. A little lip, just. I've done a bit of splattering on it as well. Just want to create a bit more texture looking. I think we'll leave that. That's where the stone comes down. Yeah, actually, I think that's turned out reasonably okay. I might, when I look at it, I get a better idea when I look at it back on the video to see what it looks like more as a complete painting. Because when you're stood in front of it, it's all in your face. You've got rough edges, it's all in your face. You can't really make out what's good, what's bad. You need to have that time just to sort of like look back at it. Just to put a bit more of an edge on that in places. Just to get a feel for it. That's a bit of a contrived idea, this. I don't know what it looks like in real life, but it needed to be finished somehow. So I've come up with that. But what I'm trying to show is, you know, you can be creative with a painting. You don't have to follow things slavishly. As long as you're getting the overall feel of the scene and the day and the light and all those things, then in my book it's good enough. You know, you're kind of like... you're there. So anyway, that's it. Okay, just to recap, it's on Jackson's Eco paper. There should be a link to it under the description of the video if you're interested, and it's also painted with Cotman watercolours. If you're interested in having a set of Cotman landscape set or something, I'll put a link to some sets underneath the video as well, should you want to get some of those. Okay. So thanks ever so much for watching. I do apologise again about the blurred bit in the beginning. Don't forget to pop along to purewatercolour.com and join in the activities there. Great site which Martin runs and does it brilliantly. You can check out the other links under the page as well. So thanks ever so much for watching, and bye for now.